Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Leading by Association. We have with us today an esteemed guest on this episode with Joaquim Bretcha, Director General of ESOMAR, be our guest on this podcast that's really focused on uncovering leadership expertise and potential in dynamic nonprofits association landscape to really augment and create thriving industry ecosystems. Our guest today is a prolific leader across the data and insights and analytics domains, is a connector, a board member, and past president of ESOMAR, the Global Data Analytics and Insights Association, with experience across leading global organizations, especially in international sales, business development, growth, customer experience, leadership, and partnership roles, and speaks Spanish as a first language, and is based out of his home city of Barcelona in Spain and Europe. So we are very pleased to have him join us today. Welcome, Joaquim.
Thank you, Arundati. It's my pleasure. Just a small remark. My mother tongue is Catalan, and Spanish is my language as well, because I am bilingual. But in Barcelona is the capital of Catalonia. We speak Catalan and also Spanish, of course. And yeah, that's also a big bridge for all the Spanish-speaking community in our industry. So I am very, very happy to command this language as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that timely correction. I want to know, bursting with this question about how different has it been for you being the current Director General of ESOMAR for a bit over 6 months now than it was being president, past president now of the same association for about, I believe, 8 years. Maybe can you tell us about if your leadership and communication style has changed for both roles? Or do you think both roles needed the same skills, energy, and talent from you?
That's a very good question, Arundati, and not easy to answer. But the simplest way to approach it is that president is the highest rank responsible for the association, and it's the person that has been voted by members. So members vote president and vote the council members to represent them in the association. And Director General is the highest rank in the management team. So the management team reports to council members and president. So the task is totally different. No? President is responsible to set the strategy, direction, and to represent as the highest representative of the association, and so represent the society. And Director General needs to make things happen, needs to coordinate the team, and needs to implement the strategy that has been provided by council as representatives of members. So it's very difficult. Very different. Sorry, that was a lapsus. It's very different, but of course, the skills that you did for president are extremely useful to be Director General, because you still need to be good in communication, in networking, in having the energy to take projects, and progress with projects, and also understanding the industry, understanding the needs of members. So there are many of the skills required for president that the Director General also needs. But what is real is that Director General is the professional of the staff, and president is a volunteer role elected by members.
Thank you. I'm sure audience are really going to appreciate that distinction. What do you think then is the single most important skill that helped you get through in your entire career, not just in your current role, and which skill has been a bit difficult for you to develop over time?
Yeah, that's also a very good question, because over time you learn to understand things. I mean, you learn to separate what's essential and what is not. I mean, sometimes you see the reality so big that you cannot appreciate what are the key pillars of life, or even the key decisions. But as long as you get older and you look at the past, sorry, you see things a bit clearer of what has been important in your career. No? And I would have done a couple of things. The first one is curiosity. So, and I was always eager to learn. Second one was my international aspect. So I told you I'm from Barcelona. I told you my mother tongue is Catalan. We also speak Spanish. so it's we are very connected to Latin languages. So to bridge to French, Italian, Portuguese. I mean, studying a little bit, you can be quite fluent in those languages. So it opens up your mind, and that's what I did when I was young. And then traveling and getting into the English international world and some other parts of the world. So internationality and curiosity have always been there. Now I'm more aware how useful they have been for me. Maybe at that time I was just learning. I was just eager to learn and to live experiences, but I was not that conscious of the utility it had. Now I am. And then a couple of more things I would like to outstand that have been very helpful for me is the cultural background. I'm a father of three kids, and lately I had different discussions with different people saying, "Oh, the kids don't need to work memory now because everything is on internet." And now with ChatGPT, this sentence can be even more easy to state. And for me, this is a total nonsense, because you need to have knowledge. You need to get the knowledge, because then you can really determine whether what you are looking or you are searching for and you are getting back is the important thing, is relevant or not. And I can tell you my experience with internet, also previously with Will, and now with ChatGPT. We're all playing with ChatGPT and the similar platforms. And I can tell you that if you don't have a cultural background, if you don't have previous knowledge, you can just be led to some nonsenses that are so big, and it would be a real mistake. So when people tell me we don't need to learn, we don't need to memorize, we don't need to have this background, I say, no, this is nonsense, because otherwise you will be commanded by external platforms and algorithms. You need to have the criteria to determine whether the answer the platform is providing is good or is bad. And this is also very important in the research industry. And I could elaborate long stories around here, but it's very important to understand that numbers have meaning. And when you find a number, when you find some statistics, there is some meaning behind, and you have to be aware of that. It's not the same. There is a Spanish say that says it's not the same 8 than 80. No, and for instance, when in Barcelona, when I was hiring young students, I always ask them some questions, easy questions, like, what is the population of Spain? What is the population of China? What is the population of India? And I could tell you that I was so amazed by the lack of knowledge of such basic statistics that for me was a real filter. When somebody was telling me that in China population was about 40 million people, I said, what? Excuse me? And I had this sort of conversations. No? So for me, the cultural background is very important to really construct solid cultural background and knowledge. And then, as I told you, when I look back, there is a skill that I didn't know I had, but I discovered that I had, which is the networking skill, the getting along with people. And this is something that is extremely useful in my position right now, because I connect, as you said, I connect people with people, and I connect topics with people or topics with topics. And this is crucial because we need to foster this flow of communication and foster this flow of people meeting people, and from these meetings things happen. It can be business, it can be a cooperation in studying something, it can be a joint venture of something. Things happen when you connect people, and that's what I love.
Yeah. You talked a lot about AI and using that and its impact on memory and the development of young children everywhere, and students and professionals. What do you think is the potential of AI in our industry and outside of it, given how translation is seen or is being anticipated as one of the biggest opportunities for AI applications?
Last night, I saw this video of very important podcasters, American podcasters, that AI was using their voice, their tone, their way of speaking, and translating that to other languages such as Spanish. So I could listen to these very important podcasters, American podcasters in English, and then the same way of speaking and expressing themselves in perfect Spanish. And I got scared. Arundati, because to me, languages are so important, and commanding languages is so important, because when you command a language, you do not only speak a language, you also get into the mind of those speakers. You get into the cultural context of those speakers. At least is the way I understand these things. I've been a passionate about languages for all my life. And I have this. I really love, for instance, etymology. So I love to discover the origin of words and how words travel. No, for instance, from Sanskrit to Persian, and from Persian to Greek, and from Greek to Roman, let's say, or through Arabic to Latin. No? And then from Latin, how they travel. I mean, with the current ESOMAR president, Ray Pointer, he's in English. So sometimes I use words that in my language come from Latin, and I know they come from Latin, and I know their meaning in French, in Italian, in Catalan, Spanish, that they have traveled in English. They have traveled into English differently, and they have traveled into English with an opposite meaning to the one that we have in Latin languages. And it's so funny, because I try to say things and he understands other things. Oh, no, I mean that. So I have to look for synonyms. So for me, languages is not only about words being translated. It's more than that. It's about understanding the mindset of those speakers. So I have seen the progress of Google Translate. I remember maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago, Google Translate was really a danger. It was a danger because you were relying on a good translation, and it was not. It was far from being good translation. Today, all these automatic tools that translate, they are very, very accurate, and they're becoming more and more accurate. So I clearly see that, as you said, this is one of the first domains in which artificial intelligence is doing a very good job, and it will continue, of course. I mean, it's unstoppable.
As you're talking about these different trends and changes, I saw that you also released a very interesting report with Waypor on the freedom to publish opinion polls, and really a global status report on the state of public opinion research across the world. And it's always interesting when I come across different cohorts of students and young professionals, but even mid and senior professionals, in terms of how many are interested more in public opinion research versus how many are interested in marketing research and consumer insights. And one of the biggest shifts I'm seeing in recent years is people being very interested in public opinion research, social impact, regardless of which style of research. So I wanted to understand what do you think? How do both these realms of industry feed and fuel each other to power overall growth? And maybe you can maybe if you want to talk about any problems on both sides of the discipline, market research and public opinion research, that you're seeing, it might explain better.
But public opinion research is getting challenging because of the societies we are creating. Now, we are creating very scattered societies in which social media has a true effect, in which polarization is becoming a norm in society, not only in politics, but in everything. And so everything is getting more and more difficult. The opinion polling domain, it's quite small in terms of revenue, in terms of volume of business, in the whole market research and data analytics. Well, it's small, but it creates a lot of voice and word of mouth, because it has an impact. It has an impact because many things depend on polling, because market research and also pollsters, what we want is to reflect society. We want to provide the closest to the truth picture of our societies. And there is nothing more determinant than politics, because politics, we decide governments, and we decide policies, and we decide how the institutions are going to affect people's lives. And there is a lot at stake, a lot of interest in power, in resources, in money, in influence, a lot of things at stake. This is why polling is always looked so closely by these people that want to have the power and all this influence. Unfortunately, in many parts of our world, polling is not free. In many parts of the world, and this is what this study that you refer to wants to bring a light to, is that in many parts of the world, our professionals in our sector cannot freely work in their profession, which is polling. And polling is just has the objective of providing the reality of society. Also, polling has an effect on the population, because when you see the evolution of the willingness of your citizens in your countries in terms of who they want to elect, and you see this over time, so of course it determines behavior, it determines how people vote and so on. But still, this is the best tool we have to understand the opinion of our co-citizens. It's the best way to understand what are the things that concern, what are the concerns, what are the preoccupations, what are the interests, what are the priorities of people. And it is by polling that we can get this. It is true that our societies worldwide are not so strong as we could imagine in the past. And we have now so many interests that are pulling from here and there that it's difficult to get this real picture. So this is why all the polling methodologies must be at their best, must really make this effort of trying to minimize the noise, which is brutal in many occasions, and provide the real trends in societies, and have this predictive view on how society wants to evolve and what is the path that they will follow. And this study what kind of denounces in those countries where polling is not free. And there are many conditions, and it's being determined by the power, what they can do, what they cannot do, and how in advance they can publish pollsters, or whether they can or cannot. So this is a very good tool to show to politicians in every country, because it's a benchmark across countries, and they can have a very nice understanding of the value that polling brings and what are the best practices. And from ESOMAR, also with WAPOR, we have been very good at helping our local representatives or local associations to demonstrate before governments how they should legislate polling. Because in some countries, there was this aim of controlling in a way that made it impossible. And we have been good enough with this kind of studies to demonstrate what are the good practices. And we have been able to change many or some legal procedures that were taking place in some countries.
Yeah, it's great to know all about all that you've covered. Like you've talked about your current roles, you've talked about the skills you've evolved, you've talked about the potential of AI, and now the internationalization of everything, and how we can be better citizens by understanding other citizens. So Generation1.ca, as you know, is a platform for and about newcomers to North America. So, and you might have been one as well to North America at some point in your life. So where do you think diverse skilled global professionals in our industry ecosystem trying to reskill or upskill or shift their energies for the upcoming years, what should they do? And maybe you could even talk about any geopolitical shifts that have impacted your career, although you've hinted at some of that. But any lessons that for our audience, it's very global, and that's trying to understand what shifts they should take note of. You talked about being culturally intelligent, but if there's other examples or anything you want to share.
Yeah, I mean, we could spend a lot of time talking about that. Maybe it's hard to summarize things, but we could talk about hard skills and soft skills. And hard skills are those skills that we learn at school, at universities, and so on. And also we can talk about values and principles. And this is very important, values and principles in life. I can tell you that if you want to be a leader, you should be, or you must be honest. There are some times that you must make decisions, difficult decisions, but you must be honest with yourself and with the rest of people and with your principles. I also believe that you have to have empathy. Empathy sometimes have been understood as a weakness, no? Because for some time we have received these models of tough leaders, tough people, and so on. Yeah, you can take tough decisions and you can be firm with the decisions that you made. But I believe empathy is very important. You have to be able to understand the context and the context that people live in your surroundings. With time, and as long as I'm getting older, I also believe that we have social responsibility. We have social responsibility, and you see the world, how is it going? Technology. You see technology. For instance, the two main, if you want, main drivers of today are technology and the climate change or the climate disaster or however you want to call it. Technology, for many, many years, I've said that technology is not neutral. And we have been sold the idea that technology per se is good. We have been told that technology is neutral and it just depends on how you use it. It's not really true because technology is created by people with interests and biases. So, and I always say the same. Why should we trust a technology maker that we cannot choose? We cannot elect this person. We cannot vote on this person, and he can be responsible of the policies and the practices of this big technology platform for 20 years, 50 years, well, however, the time that he's in power, because he's the owner, or she is the owner. So, honesty, empathy, values, I think we all should be paying more attention to that. When you are young, and also we have been told that ambition is positive, I would say that you have to calibrate ambitions. Positive ambition is good. When it becomes bad, then it's pretty bad, not only for you but also for the rest. I would reinforce these values. So having values, having principles, having an ethical framework. Of course, we need to provide the best for us, ourselves, and our families, and so on. But we cannot forget that we are part of a societies with many, many challenges. And I believe that we have the social responsibility. And I believe that if you have the capacity of impacting people, it can be one person, it can be two people, or as many people as you can. So if you have this capacity of impacting people in positive, you must take the step. And with that, I can leave you with some examples. No, I am also the 1 year and a half ago, I became the speaker and master of ceremonies of my sports club, and also then the Catalan Federation has also hired me for different tournaments in field hockey, national, international, and so on. And people ask me, why do you do that? Oh, why are you embarking in this thing? Well, you are busy, you have kids and so on. So yeah, I am. I enjoy that. I mean, it's a field that I have discovered and I enjoy it. But most importantly, I see that when we do that, when we are putting music into matches and tournaments, and I comment or I present or I interview players or captains or whoever, I see that it creates an impact on people, and I see that people enjoy much better the match and the tournament. And on many occasions, I can tell you, the parents of kids or the parents of players have come to me thanking for that. So if you can have a positive impact, my position would be make it, do that, because we need to provide a better world for ourselves and the people that surrounds us. That's why in this associations world, for instance, at ESOMAR, when you go to Congress at ESOMAR, people that go to Congress for the first time or get into this industry for the first time, they always tell me people are so nice, and many people that have come into this industry and this sector unintentionally, so they would have never thought that they would end up working in this industry. They tell me, I cannot leave this industry. I mean, people are so nice. I have so much fun. I learn so much because we're constantly learning, because we are trying to understand our societies. So we are constantly evolving and learning within methodologies, new technologies, new approaches. So that's because our industry is made of people that work for people to understand people. And for that, you must be empathetic and you must be honest.
That's amazing. Thank you for that. Is there any one leader you'd like to point out to who thinks who you think
in our industry or in the world in history?
Not in some okay, maybe industry.
In our industry, I don't dare because then maybe somebody will. There are many.
Or even outside, it's fine. Like any
Yeah.
someone that in the world in history and present who you think is has the hallmarks of a great leader that is even relevant today in terms of how people can.
I would tell a couple of things. One is that our industry has a lot of hidden leaders, many people that create this impact I was talking about, people that make a difference. There are many people that make a difference, and therefore they make a better living in their surroundings, and that's important. And if we look at history or the world, I love history. I always like to refer to Nelson Mandela. He was an extraordinary man. Of course, as all people, as everybody, with gray areas, or if you want, not so positive areas, as everybody, and a person of his context in history. But in the end, he managed to transform himself with discipline and honesty, and he managed to transform society. Of course, society is not perfect, and nothing is perfect, of course. But if you look how he managed to transform, and he could pass from hatred to a society that can live together and can have common objectives. That's so huge. So I would love to. I mean, I know I will not have the chance, unfortunately, but I would have loved to have met him, have a dinner with him, and just listen to what he could teach us.
Thank you for that. Joaquim, it was really, really an honor to have you here, and I'm sure our audience will be very inspired by your words of wisdom and just understand what's going on in your immediate surroundings and at ESOMAR. So thank you so much for being on this very interesting episode
Thank you.
of Leading by Association.
If people has had interest in listening to me, I'm happy to come another day to answer any questions they have. So thank you so much.